Welcome to Talkin the Gridiron, your ultimate destination for all things NFL. We're here to deep dive into the heart of football, breaking down the action, the strategies, and the stories that make the NFL so electrifying. From the Sunday showdowns to Monday Night Magic, we're covering every touchdown, tackle, and timeout. So grab your game day snacks, settle into your favorite chair, and join us as we navigate the highs and lows of the gridiron, where the game is always on and the conversation never stops.
Week 1, Talkin the Gridiron. Gentlemen, let's get these AFC East or the AFC predictions, the NFC predictions. It doesn't matter anymore. It's week 1. It's showtime here. This is season 3 of the regular season talk here, Talkin the Gridiron. I got Brian, the main man Johnson, of course, joining me. Jimmy Pilato again. Jimmy, we'll dive into your team a little bit here in a little bit. It was a rough Sunday in that regard, but we do have football back. It is nice to have a little Sunday with some action as well. How are you doing out there?
It's just same year, different, same story, different year. I should just get used to it at this point. Yeah, no, that's all I can say. Like, and it was a bad weekend. It started off great. Like, the team that I coach, we beat the shit out of the. There's a local radio guy that has a team in our league, and we beat them 52-2. So it started off awesome, and then CU goes out, lays an egg, and both teams today kind of did the same thing. Like, it was frustrating because the Bengals, we obviously knew that was happening. I said it. I've had talked about not playing your starters in the preseason for a long time. Yep. I said that for like 3 years.
As long as I've known you.
Yeah, and I said it again 3 weeks ago. It was my center of attention. Like, the Sean McVay teams, they struggle in the week ones because they don't ever play starters in the preseason. Look at what the Rams were doing earlier tonight. Stafford throws that pick in the middle of the end zone. How do you not see that safety just sitting there? Like, you saw him. You looked him right in the eyes as you were throwing that ball to your backup wide receiver because Puka got hurt. So it's just, this is what NFL football is. And we the offseason makes you forget. Like, you forget how frustrating watching a team can be. Like, are you kidding? That's what we put forth. That was the best effort. That was what we did. All of that work starting out at the beginning of August. That was the best we could come up with out of camp, preseason, the joint practices, and then everything after the game too. Like, if you want, when we get to it, I'll go on my full. Like, there's a lot of things to address, and there's going to be a lot of
them.
There's going to be a lot of frustration because I've seen this whole thing before with the last coach of this team, where
and you do that, and you we're going to get. I'm going to give you your space
at FEOTB Pod. You guys can try and go at me.
Rams the golf.
Did the Rams just take the lead there too? Now they're up 19-17. The number 1 quarterback for me, Brian. He didn't look good to start. Jimmy said that, but he's maybe starting to.
No, like, he looked great on that drive, and then he threw the pick.
If he loses this game, he's 0-2 against Detroit. What is Purdy against Detroit? 1-0.
All right, so we're going to stay on track. We're going to stay on track today with that. But I agree with you on the Stafford part. All right. Hey, let's get into it. Brian, let's keep us updated there with it. We get it looks like we're going to be 20-17 right here. Lions are going to have the ball with a chance here. I'll get the highlight up here on the play here as well. TD Rams. Yep, we got everybody here locking in here last 4 minutes of the game. Jimmy, let's go here with it. Game of the day. That's kind of where I went with some of the ones I had. The Dolphins game. Started out very interesting, obviously, with
that whole situation. Thing. Yeah, that entire thing it goes way deeper than football.
He does. Brian texted me that. I was like, oh man, what's going to happen there? And they got the update, and then you see him get an 80-yard touchdown later in the game. Plays a big part in the win here. The Jaguars. I mean, talk about blowing a game. They had the guy with what's the running back there, Junior? He was running in, the guy out of Clemson. He was running in there for a touchdown, and then he got the ball knocked out of his hand, and that changed the whole game, right?
Bring that up because that wiped 7 points off my fantasy. that wiped off one of the only touchdowns that roster had so far today, and it made Travis Etienne end up with a 0. I want to address like the Tyreek Hill thing. I'm interested to see what more information comes out because Dade County Police is launching an internal investigation. Like, Tyreek Hill was forcibly removed from his car, thrown down on the ground, handcuffed. There was I can't remember the other player that came in, but it's a former Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. So not a guy that's going to come and try and start controversy. And he got taken aside and handcuffed for refusing to comply with the officer's request. I'm very interested to see what comes out of this investigation because it's not like it's a mystery. Dade County has a history of really poor policing. Like there's certain things that happen, and this whole Tyreek Hill situation, it's because of the guy. But what he said afterwards, what he said in his post-game press conference, and he had a great game, like how you compartmentalize getting arrested, getting treated like that before the game, and then go out there and still have 120 yards receiving or whatever it was, score a game-winning touchdown. Like, good on him. What he said after the game, where he wants to start using his platform for good, maybe this is the incident in his life. Because I've said it a lot. Tyreek Hill is a bad individual off the field. One of the greatest football players that has been out there, one of the greatest weapons, but off the field with the domestic issues and now, he did get pulled over for speeding, but when you get pulled over for speeding, that does not mean you should get removed from your vehicle and roughed up, put in handcuffs, no matter what
officers.
There is. Yeah. And yes, if there is a situation that escalates to that point, I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so it's very difficult for me to speak on it, but I'm going based off of what I've seen, and it doesn't look like that was the situation. If it is that way, then I will wholeheartedly, not walk back, but I will admit that I'm wrong. What I saw from this and what I saw from Mike Florio before Sunday Night Football started, this is probably going to result in like that officer losing his job. It looks like there's going to be suspension at least, and it'll be interesting. But really wild storyline to go into a game that ended up being one of the best of the day.
And then he gets an 80-yard touchdown with it. Brian, how about you from the Jaguars side of it? Right? You're upset. Like, this kind of fits, like, remember how it's always the Chargers will charger? The Jaguars are starting to kind of get that reputation too, right?
I mean, you started the game with Trevor Lawrence in a police uniform, and then they put the headline.
But that was bad, but that fumble changed the whole game. I mean, that was a bad thing. I don't know. Like, I guess, Brian, my thing is, like I said, like, anytime it's a close game, I expect them to find a way to lose at this point.
Yeah, it just seems like they find a way to blow games or something. I mean, the only playoff win they got was against the Chargers, and the Chargers blow games even more than they do.
You're right. That's a good point there when they met up there. And
oh my gosh, I agree with Brian. I agree with him. It can happen.
Yes, people, I love it. We got some energy going into it tonight. I wanted to touch on the Dolphins just with the final point with them is I feel like going into the season, both of you guys kind of braid up like, oh, let's wait and see. So the way your tone with them is also I can kind of feel like let's see what happens later, because they did have to make kind of a crazy comeback to even get to that point there with it. Jimmy, how about the other game of the day? Your boy Joe Mixon had a good 3 rushes.
He played really well, like that, and it was frustrating because I had to watch both those games together in my multi-view on Sunday Ticket. It would have done a lot to see 28 still in that orange and black. It was orange on orange today, which is probably going to be a combination we never see again. No, Mixon had an awesome day, and that was a great game because it started off. I will not apologize still. I had somebody tweet immediately after the Colts lost, by the way. Did I mention that the Colts lost and that you guys are losers just as big as my team is? Like, we're both losers on the same level. So you guys lost, yet you tweet at me, you quote tweet my tweet, the one that went viral where I'm not apologizing, and he says, apologize now. Why would I apologize? He lost. But I will give you this, the 20 pounds of muscle that he gained over the offseason, which if you look at him, God damn it, it looks like he gained 20 pounds. It helped him. He finished the game, played really well, had a couple big plays, had a couple mistakes, but it was a cool game to watch because those are 2 young quarterbacks that are probably going to fight against each other for a long time. Like, if they can both stay healthy, and I think you can say that on both sides, if they can have their weapons around them, I think that can be a rivalry for a while, and both coaches are good. Shane Steichen is a good head coach. DeMeco Ryans is a awesome head coach. I really like what both those guys do. It's not like I'm sad to see this game play out the way that it did. And Stroud has a way he's shown, like in the NFL right now, he's a little bit ahead of the curve with these young guys being able to win games in tough situations, because that was not easy what they did today.
And Richardson missed Doolin by like just a centimeter. I mean, if he had like just a little bit longer fingers, they would have had a huge play there earlier in the game. Tyler, to his point, he did say the receivers, Collins played well. He had 117 yards. Diggs did his thing with 2 touchdowns there with it. Like you said, CJ Stroud under. Brian, what's your thoughts with this game?
I was probably watching it the most because I had Diggs and Mixon on my money fantasy league. So I think this
Mixon,
game
man,
and
was great, dude.
Mixon was
30
a smart
carries.
yeah,
choice. Mixon
it
was a
was this
very smart
game
choice.
and Josh Allen going off in the second half that just clinched me the victory.
Before we get to that game, the Mixon part, though, I want to just focus on there. Like the Bengals, before we get to the Bengals, too, wrap that up. That was it's a great signing for a team that has young players, kind of a guy that's kind of ready to keep ascending for a couple more years as a running back. You have Stroud there. You have Stroud there to protect him, right? And then you got 30 carries a day. The Bengals, I don't know, 30 carries.
We never used him that much, and we should have. We should have ran the wheels off of him if we weren't going to keep him. That was the big argument that Jordan and I had a lot last season. Like, if we're going to let the guy go at the end of the year because we don't want to keep his contract around, at least use him for what he's good for. Keep him in the entire game. He can play. He wants to play. But we take him out so often. We were putting in Chase Brown, and we thought Zach Moss is going to come in and replace a guy like Joe Mixon. No, that's the idiocy of the NFL is to think that I have this good player. He's only good because he's here. He's going to go somewhere else and not be that great. Why would I pay him more money? Well, he goes somewhere else, and this is a weird situation because I feel like it's a hockey trade. And I see this a lot more amongst NHL fans where a guy gets traded that did a lot for your franchise, and he goes to some place where he can still be competitive. And you're like, good on him. The organization did him right. Like, good on the Bengals for not forcing him to stick around and renegotiate his contract again, because he would have done it if we wanted to keep him. We could have kept him.
Yeah,
he loves the area. He was on the Bengals podcast that I listened to. Like, it's one of those. As a fan, why couldn't we have worked it out? And why do we think we're smarter than what we actually are? Like, just go with the facts. Look at what the guy produces on the field. He's been a captain for the last 6 years, and you let that walk out the door, and it looks.
And for the Texans, though, it looked like a great fit, though, Jimmy.
No, and that's what he's a captain. That's what you need on a team that says as young as they are. Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Now you add in Joe Mixon on that offense. That is the leadership that they're going to need.
Brian, do you think I was just wrote this note down. I didn't think about the rushing leader. He could maybe be the rushing leader this year.
I was saying maybe Diggs is always going to be a guy who bitches at least once a game, but that was kind of the concerning point at the beginning when he's complaining, and then I guess they found him in the end zone, and then he didn't say anything. He went to the end zone.
Throw me touchdown.
Maybe Diggs is just going to be that guy that he wants the ball every possession.
Brian, that is what you've watched enough sports. There's always somebody like that on the team, right? I mean, who was that guy on the Niners? Oh yeah, you had the best one at that. So you know who the guy. Always say
that is one of the best radio calls of all time. I will give you that.
It is. All right, let's get to that game. Other game of the day here. Josh Allen throws two TD passes. The Cardinals are up 17-0. Jimmy, you talked about that before you left last show about how you thought the Cardinals were going to fight a little bit more. Yeah. I represent the hat out here. So I got the Cardinals hat here as the second favorite team. They did blow it today against the Bills. I was very impressed with Allen today. Very impressed with, like, it wasn't like the starriest game in the world. We had 450 yards, but he was like, I don't know, he seemed dialed in, like how you win a game when you have to pick up pieces when your team isn't playing the best. But from the Cardinals standpoint, they did really battle. They just really, the defense, they just let them get momentum.
They're still really lacking in talent. I like the way that they play, and the way that they came out was shocking because I did not expect Kyler Murray. Terrell was giving. I heard him because I listened to the show after. I didn't listen right afterwards, but I listened to it when we put it out. By the way, everybody should follow at FEOTB Pod at Fatboy Fadeaway Sports. Brian, you have too many numbers in yours for me to remember, so you can plug your Twitter account. But it's just like that situation with Kyler Murray, and he's playing well. If he's healthy, that was not me tweeting from our account. That was Nico, where he said that the Cardinals are going to be a lot tougher than people are thinking if Kyler Murray is healthy. I think that we saw that today, but I also think that we still saw, when you take – I feel like we underestimated what it's going to take out of you when you draft quarterbacks in the top 10 overall back-to-back drafts. When you take Josh Rosen 10th, and then you take Kyler Murray first the next season, and that kind of weakens everything else. You have to let things go. You had to get rid of a coach that did not want to be there and coach. He'd rather get paid to do nothing and go to Thailand. Cliff Kingsbury. So, like, they got rid of everything. Rich Gannon seems like Is it Rich or Josh? I can't remember.
Josh
Coach
Gannon.
Josh Gannon seems like he's got the culture there, and Kyler played well, but they just made a lot of mistakes, and their talent isn't there to. You can't make mistakes when you're that outmatched.
Brian, I wish Rich Gannon was still playing for my Raiders out there, but that's not the case. I was impressed with that.
That's probably the only team you would coach is the Raiders. So.
It probably would be. I mean, come on. We said the Dolphins, they looked, whatever. The Bills kind of looked whatever. I was impressed with this Bills win. Are you not as impressed?
No, I was impressed because the way it started, I was a little concerned with Josh Allen, but he just seemed to turn it on and make the plays they needed to. He needed to make to get show that he's a premier quarterback in the league.
He was definitely premier today. 18 for 23, like I said, 232 yards. And then it was interesting to see what they did in the receiving game. He threw the ball to 11 different receivers. Caught a ball.
They don't have a receiver with a name worth memorizing.
They don't. It was like fullback.
Dave Davis is on Jacksonville. I know that because he was on my bench today and he scored 11 points. That would have been nice.
So what do we got here real quick? Just to double check here on the game here, Brian. 2017 now is the update we have. Rams got the ball back. Right?
I was going to tell you I'm beating Cincinnati 42-10.
2:31 left right before the 2-minute warning.
All right, and the Rams have the ball, right?
Yeah, it's 2nd and 17.
Yeah, but we'll get the highlights up here. I'm going to get I'll get some random plays up here from the game as well. Cooper Kupp had a magical catch here, just a few.
Cooper Kupp is a great, talented football player. That is it. When we talk about Sunday Night Football, I can talk about it more, but watching that first half and what he's able to do and what he's going to be able to teach Puka if Puka can get healthy, like the way that he blocks, he looks like the dork, the geek that you kick off the sideline at high school football games, yet he's out there blocking and putting guys on their back. Obviously, I'm going to look at that because I'm an offensive line coach, but come on. That dude plays football the right way, and I love watching Cooper Kupp play. I wish I still had him on my fantasy team. I had him 2 years ago, and it was the most blissful experience. You just start him, and that was like a solid 30 points.
It was like 130. It was like 130 yards automatically, and then you have that. No doubt of it.
Cooper Kupp, check.
Check again. We have that one. Aaron tuning in here. How can you forget about No Shoes Mac on Buffalo? I'm sorry, you're right. No shoes. My son, though.
It looks like they missed a 3rd down and 10, so the Rams will be punting.
All right, we got that after the play, so that kind of goes down right there. I think got another. My last thought there with the Bills and the Cardinals, like I said, maybe it came down to the wire there. The Cardinals, they had the return as well. Murray, 21-31, 162 yards, took 4 sacks. You don't like to see that in the game, but.
And he did miss a really good pass to Marvin here.
I know, and I have him on my roster. He
was open
4 yards
on that
receiving.
One.
4 yards. 4 yards receiving. That's it. Dude is always open. You cannot convince me of that.
My son is on once in a while finds YouTube shorts. And he's like, he's not a huge like football fan yet, but he loves like kind of the mascot side of things, and like the other side, he's young, and he's like, he goes, Dad, I noticed that in the Bills though, they have these guys who like jump on tables on fire. I was like, yeah.
That's you best never go there unless you're ready to black out.
I was like,
Dad, what's blacking out? We don't have to talk about that for another 10 years at least.
My kids have seen snow like one time in their lives. Like something like that's what happens when you live in 0 degree weather. You just,
hey, that feels like a personal shot. I went to school in a place that was negative 30 on a regular basis. And did I jump into a snowbank once or twice? Yeah.
Yeah, probably did exactly.
I did. Enough Coors Light. If you get enough Coors Light, and you'll do anything. That's a shout out. Hey, Coors Light, sponsor the network, sponsor the show at Variety _sports_.
We can get on the Super Bowl commercial there. The Panthers are the worst team since the Lions went defeat Brian or Tyler. I do have them coming up here in a few minutes as well. They did look absolutely garbage. All right, so Brian, you'll keep us updated there Sunday night here as we're getting close to the 2-minute warning here. We're at the 2-minute warning. Lions have the ball back. We'll get some highlights to you there with it. All right, best of the rest here. Let's quickly go to Thursday, just real quick on it, because I know I just want to kind of touch on it because they were good games. Chiefs, Ravens, they come down to the wire, inches, like we say there. Eagles, they win in Brazil. Hold on there. Love goes down with the biggest injury. So the two storylines for me from this night were the Chiefs just have a way. They have a way. I don't care how the job is done, but they find a way. And then the other one was Love, obviously going down. How does that affect the Packers season. We'll go there with it. So Brian, let's go to you first on this one. What kind of stands out to you out of those two games?
The Packers are in deep trouble. They got to go with Malik Willis for 3 to 6 weeks, and
Liberty
that's not going to be
Flames.
pretty.
The Liberty Flames, baby.
You don't think he can do it? Maybe he's back.
It's going to be. He's going to be in trouble.
He plays the Titans, ironically. Is it next week or in a couple weeks? I think that's kind of funny. Jimmy,
I think you're the only person that remembers they drafted him. That's how irrelevant he's.
I have a lot of. Remember, me and Tyler randomly have a lot of Nashville, Memphis people we follow, so I get a lot of Titans thing around the line. So.
Tighten up. They also lost today too. So even the team I adopted screwed me over because they were looking good early.
I thought Lamar played well, Jimmy, on Monday on Thursday night.
I want this to be very clear.
He did make a bad throw though at the end.
No, and look, I want this to be very clear.
Yes.
Is Lamar Jackson a nightmare for your team to play against? Yes. I have never once said I'm glad that I get to play against him 2 times a season because I think he's a bad quarterback and he's more of a running back. I've never said that statement. I still give him the props and the credit that he's due because he whoops my ass fairly consistently. So it's not like I can say all that much. He plays well. He's a great football player. He lacks what you would like in the clutch moments throwing the football. It goes to his feet. It goes over the guy's head. He can throw really well to tight ends, and he has 2 really damn good ones in Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. So it's not like they're in a terrible situation. And the Ravens, they kind of exposed the Chiefs losing L'Jarius Sneed they're going to have to make up for that. But the Chiefs also are one of the few teams that realize if I play my young players for a long part of the season, they'll probably get better. And then, oh my God, I got all these guys on nothing contracts and my defense is playing out of their mind because they've just been together and cohesive. So like the Chiefs defense is still good. Their secondary is a little bit worse without Sneed, but I think the Ravens will be just fine. I think that whenever the Bengals play the Ravens, just like always, it's going to be a nightmare to try and figure out how to stop Lamar Jackson. You probably won't. He'll probably make Nick Vigil. Nick Vigil will get signed randomly just for that game so that Lamar Jackson can make him look stupid once again on national television, because that's like the gif. If you search Lamar Jackson on X right now, everybody, as you're listening to this in your headphones, watching this on YouTube, go to X, type in on the gifs, Lamar Jackson spin move. It's the one against Nick Vigil. It's on Paycor Stadium's field. Like, it's the one that haunts me for the rest of my existence. I have never said Lamar Jackson is a bad football player. Well, I just think that as a quarterback, he struggles.
All right. As somebody that's been your host for a while, I would say you have not said that, but you've been critical of part of his game. That's all I will say, right? Like,
that's because the Ravens fans outside of the Steelers, the Ravens fans and I and the Colts.
Now the Colts join that.
Everybody kind of. I guess I'm just like on an island by myself. I can be on an island. I'm good with that.
I had him number 4, so it's not like I had him as a bum in the AFC.
He's definitely not a bum.
We're talking about the clutch situations, right? Like last night, he did have a chance to hit that guy in the end zone.
If they could have gotten a lead against Kansas City, now granted their defense has to be able to stop a comeback against Patrick Mahomes, but if they can get a lead, they can play the way that they're built to play. They're not built to play from behind. So when Kansas City got the lead, it was almost a foregone conclusion. They had a few drives where it stayed close, but even I think Kansas City, they didn't really show everything that they had on offense because they kind of thought in their heads, our defense is going to be able to stop them.
Gosh,
we know how to stop them.
By a toe, man.
Oh, by a toe.
That was you gambled, and that was like 16.
That was.
Oh my god! I just almost lost my house.
And then the receiver throws the ball in the air. The jubilee. No.
They celebrated.
It's a tough
I kind of don't like the Harbaughs right now. I don't know what it is, but he celebrated pretty hard. It was kind of funny to watch him have to walk back that celebration.
But the Chiefs, man, just always find a way. So that was there with it. I
wish they would have lost. Actually, I don't know if they would have lost that game.
Find a way. They just get it.
If they would have lost against the Ravens Thursday night, I think that my team would have been in for more of an ass whooping this upcoming weekend. I'm gonna have to hit 50 push-ups next Monday, Darren.
Yes,
because I bet 2 of my students 25 push-ups each. And I'll see if they're man enough to do their push-ups with me. Because I was going to do the push-ups either way, whether the Bengals beat the Chiefs or not, when I thought the Bengals were going to be able to play football. We
have a Patriots fan in the comments right now, just to let you know. We do have one here. Maybe this is a good opportunity to get to this game. But I thought the Patriots were ranked 32nd league. Bengals would disagree. Let's get into that best of the rest here. What do you make of the? Let me get my thoughts, and then we'll go to Jimmy. We'll go to Brian. We'll kind of Adam will probably comment in here from the Patriots standpoint here. Let's have some fun with it. Mayo gets his first win. You guys, I wanted to say this. I still believe in you guys, but you guys do have like legit chaos around you right now. Like there is legit chaos that like sometimes that does not work for teams, like the Chase situation. Higgins out, you have some offensive line, and then you just have this owner that he's just kind of a pain in the you-know-what. Like, I don't think many of the players really love him that much, and it just feels like there's some bad energy to start the year. Like you have always said, they never play the starters in preseason, which they always come out flat, which they definitely did today, and they had just terrible turnovers, or not turnovers, penalties at times that killed them. But then you look at the Patriots, and they just I wasn't like overly impressed by anything they did. They were just
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? They were so much better than they were last season.
Well, but I mean they were tougher. But I wasn't like, oh, they're like spreading out 4 wide. Like they were tougher. So I mean, what do you make of this? How are you not disappointed? I know this is the Patriots. You guys should beat the Patriots, right?
Disappointment is not even that doesn't even register on what I felt pretty much from the second quarter on. By no means am I going to sit here and say that there is no BS reason that the Patriots beat us.
Yeah.
I know exactly why. I coached the reason why. It was the trenches on both sides of the ball. They wanted to pitcher tried to establish the run, and to his credit, I guess he didn't really go away from trying to establish the run even when it wasn't going to work. Which is what a lot of play callers in the NFL do. The way that Stevenson ran the ball today, the way that they were just finishing on every single play, like
they were better.
I underestimated the mentality that Gerard Mayo was going to bring to this team. I didn't think that they were going to be as tough as they were. Last season, they looked soft. Last season with Squishy Mac at quarterback, it looked like you could push around the Patriots. It looked like you could. And today I did not see a Patriots team that I could push around. I saw a Patriots team that if they started, it was like the Stewie when he's on steroids. There's a toll in the hall now. I was like, fuck, I didn't expect this. We did not practice. We did not play. We don't have any. Jamar Chase is like doing this weird sit-in thing. He thinks that he's, fighting for activism amongst wide receiver rights. And that's not what it is. You're just, it's a nightmare. It's a complete and utter nightmare. Like I'm living the window might be closed. They might have closed it themselves because we have, you said it. The owner makes it so that Jamar Chase comes out and says, I don't want to beat Justin Jefferson's contract just by a penny. You're a prick. You're a selfish asshole. You got a penalty on you for not getting off of the field. It's not Burrow's hair. I'm giving you your props. You can stop. I'm giving you your props. If I'm giving you credit, you don't need to continue to stab the knife deeper. You stung me already. It's there. I'm dead. I'm dying. Let me have my last word. It was just like, not only did you get outplayed, not only did you get out schemed, you got out toughed, and by the end of that game, you just gave up. You just gave up. And they've done that before in the first few parts of the season and have gone on runs down the stretch, and you're like, well, if we could have just started off 4-0 instead of 0-4, we can maybe have a bye in the playoffs. But I've seen this story before. By no means is this less painful. By no means am I less delusional about where I stand. And I will give Terrell credit, because if he was on the show here, he would remind me. He did tell me last week, like, hey, your team has not always had great quarterback play. And I told him I remembered, and I do remember. And now I remember even better, because that was Andy Dalton at quarterback for the Bengals today. That was not Joe Burrow.
Andy out there. That's Brian. Andy Dalton.
Or it was Slim Shady, and he was high off perks the entire time and couldn't see a fucking defense. Those are the only two options, because that was not Joe Burrow.
To Adam's point here, maybe it's Burrow's hair. Brian,
if they make the Super Bowl, I will be blonde on this show for the end of time.
I hope that, for that reason, I do kind of hope they make it. He didn't. What did you make of Burrow, Brian? Just first game jitters back a little, like kind of like not the same. What did you kind of make of him in that regard?
Yeah, he looked a little rusty. Like they didn't play him in the preseason, so
hasn't played in 9 months.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
What do you think?
I mean, nobody looked more disappointed than Burrow after the game on the sideline, and the coach came up and kind of patted him on the back and just said, "We'll get him next week" or
I
something.
saw him playing with that wrist a little bit. I didn't like that. I didn't like.
He has not been beaten like that in so long. It's been since the 2018 LSU season. Like it's been so long since he's been thoroughly dominated like that.
I'm worried about your team, Jimmy. I am a little worried in the sense of just a little worried. Next week's a big game versus Baltimore.
I'm not telling. It's not Baltimore. It's Kansas City.
Or Kansas City. Excuse me. Sorry.
So it's even it's even more. I'm glad that it's early in the year. Like I've always said, I'd rather play the Chiefs early than play the Chiefs late, because
Definitely.
when we play the Chiefs late, we have to show a lot of what we're going to do in the playoffs. They show a lot of what they're going to do in the playoffs. I think both teams are finally like, thank God we get it in week 2 instead of week 17.
Yeah, tough to play each other so late.
Burrow seems to show up whenever Mahomes is there, so you got that.
I can't even remember. I didn't look today because I don't want to look anymore. Are we home or away? Does anybody know?
It's in Arrowhead.
Okay, so Burrow normally plays well there. I'm not going to call it what they like to call it, because after we did that, we fucking.
Why was T. Higgins out today? Is he back next week? He's got to be back next week, right?
I think it was probably an illness, because they were also saying Jamar Chase had a possible illness that was going to keep him out. That was the reason why he was questionable. Not the sit-in. Not the sit-in. They said it was an illness. I don't know. Did you guys see? There was some channel.
It's called the green illness. He wants his money.
He does. He does want his money. And Paul Brown has no problem being on the end of that trend where he does not clap for show me my money. It's like, no, thank you. I'm not going to. No.
Tyler mentions here, Patriots still suck. Worry about the Niners. Take care.
You guys fight amongst yourselves. We have nothing. I have no beef between any of you.
Come on. These are friendships from 30 years ago that go back deep here. So we got some of that with it. Mayo with it. They get best of the rest. Brian, I see the Lions tied it up on a field goal here. 2020 now. Is that what I got?
Yeah, there's 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter, so this might be going to OT.
I think I heard the statistic earlier today. 75% of NFL games last year were within one possession, and I would say from this weekend that's a trend that's probably going to continue. What do you guys think of the kickoff? Did anybody realize that the kickoff was going to produce 2 massive plays in like the same game?
No, that was. I thought it was kind of. I liked it actually a little bit.
You liked it?
I thought I'd like to see. I like to see more returns than not returns. So I felt like there was a more opportunity for a few of them. This was the one that was up on the stage, I think, right here that I'll have up on there. This is the one that was returned, but I liked it a little bit. It sounds like you didn't like it.
I like the fact that it was able to be exploited, but I guess I'm just interested if it's going to be this exciting throughout the rest of the season, and if they're going to want to keep it. Like today, it seems like it's cool because there was a couple big plays, but I honestly don't know if it was a better change.
Tyler, pump the brakes. Tyler, come on.
Keep going, Jimmy.
I just don't think I don't know if it's going to stick.
No, I hear you. I think at least they mixed it up a little bit. I'm willing with that, Jimmy, when they try new things a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm willing to try because it was getting stale.
And it does also confirm that they're trying to use the XFL as like a developmental league, and they're not just lying about that.
Do you some that's what we have. We were watching actually.
Are you guys gonna watch the Netflix documentary on Vince, or are you gonna try and stay blissfully ununaware of all the shit that they're gonna uncover? Because those Netflix documentaries go so hard.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
He texted me that he wanted to defecate on my head. If he defecated on my head, I was gonna win the Royal Rumble.
Are they gonna show the video of him getting a lap dance from Stacey Keebler?
Yes.
And going
that was tame. Apparently, everything that we saw on TV was tame. And he made a woman strip to her panties and bark like a dog. And that was like not the worst thing that he was doing.
NFL just reposted, I love you guys. So different type of love going on in the NFL right now compared to Vince. NFL, isn't it maybe going to be on Netflix here in a little bit? Brian was texting me earlier in the game. He sent me a picture to the group text with Tyler and my brother. And the Titans were up 17-0. He goes, well, the Bears are struggling. And then all of a sudden, the Titans, they give up a blocked field goal for a touchdown. And then they end up, Williams doesn't even play good. He goes 14 for 29 for 93 yards.
He's god awful.
Yep, Levis doesn't play that well either.
I just put this game on the Titans blowing it. Yeah.
They didn't play well. The Titans had an opportunity, and I was disappointed. That block kick changed everything. That gave him 7 points.
It was a total momentum shift because Will Levis up to that point was the man. That was the best that I've seen him play, even going back to college. That he was orchestrating the offense. He had an awesome TD drive, but after that blocked field goal, it was all systems go the other way, and they just couldn't recover. And I think it's young coach probably was like, oh shit, this is going to be easy. I scored 17 points in the first half. Yeah, hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. And all of a sudden, that defense and special teams scores 22 out of your 24 points. And you got your number one overall pick out there like, just glad we came away with the win. Who's we? Do you have a turd in your pocket, Caleb? We did not do anything. Your defense and special teams won you your first game. Tell them thank you very much. You had less yards than my 7th grade quarterback did on Friday night. Eat it.
He was terrible.
Are we ready to pump the brakes on Caleb a little bit? Because I know it was like he's going to be the next Mahomes in preseason.
I was not on that. So I was not on that.
The next Mahomes. He's going to, like plastic surgery, make himself into the next Mahomes. Dylan Raiola. That's booking.
I think the only next Mahomes is going to be the guy from Nebraska.
That's it. That Dylan Raiola is the guy. That's it.
Carson Levi. He wasn't. He looked really. I was disappointed in him. The Levi's, right? Is it Levis? I know, but all right. Jimmy, if you ever watched,
he doesn't. He has a brand deal with Mayo. Did you see his Mayo commercial today? I saw. I didn't actually watch the entire thing, but the only clip that I saw, he's doing the splits. You might be able to look it up on like Twitter and share the screen, but he's doing the splits on like jars of mayo, and it's like a Karate Kid thing is the only thing, because he does kind of look like Billy Zabka. He looks like Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid. I think that's why people don't like him.
Because of that?
Yeah, because he looks like Johnny Lawrence. He looks like the guy that Danny LaRusso landed in an illegal head kick to win the Bay City karate tournament.
There might be a few Titans fans if Tyler's using the name Carson there. We don't want to know that.
Lamed out his character on Cobra Kai. He's a good guy, and him and Daniel LaRusso are getting along. It's like I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch it.
What a love fest. We get Brian, we're 2020. Overtime's about to start here, I believe, along the way. So the Bears, we're all, and I feel like we were all kind of realistic with the Bears before the season started. There was
except Nick.
Everybody
Wright.
else is really good on the Bears.
Was off the bandwagon on that one.
Nick Wright, yeah. Nick Wright always likes to come up with his crazy takes along the way there with it. All right, so we had the Patriots winning. That's the best of the rest. They had the Bears pulling it out against the Titans. They had the Chiefs and the Packers here. Finish out news and notes part of the segment here with it. Saints, they play well. They crushed the Panthers, as Tyler said. They might be
right. Darren's boy, Derek Carr.
Hey, he played the Panthers. He's gonna be 98.
It's the worst NFL team I have ever seen.
It's bad right now. It's bad.
Ever.
47-10. They get cooked. Just awful. Fields steps in for Wilson. The Steelers they find a way. Cousins obviously a little rusty there as well with a new team. So, Steelers,
is it the same old Falcons this year?
And the same old Steelers. They get 6 field goals and they're going to go 10-7. Like, I don't know. This is like the same thing.
Justin Fields can go eat it too, because I thought that was going to be the waiver wire pickup of the weekend. I saw so much chatter that Wilson wasn't going to play, so it was a bold move. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was bold because it was like 11 o'clock last night. And I pulled the trigger on getting Fields in both my leagues off waivers because he went undrafted in both my leagues. And he started today. And I should have started Jaden Daniels, even though they lost. But that was one of the leagues. I swapped Jaden Daniels for Justin Fields. And Justin Fields only scored like 15 points. It was abysmal. That was the worst win of the weekend. You guys
aren't you impressed with the Steelers, though, in that regard? Aren't you like,
no, their defense is good. Their defense is solid. Their defense always is like,
that's why I pick them to get number 7 every year in the playoffs. They're going to get the 7th seed. That's where they're going to find a way. I don't know.
TJ Watt, when he's on the field, will absolutely he does some bad things to your quarterback, like things that your quarterback should go talk about. Like, where did this man touch you on the doll? That's what TJ Watt does to everybody that he plays. And the Bengals get it the worst. I remember, people may or may not know if they listen to my show, but my football career ended in the ICU in a small western town in the mountains of Colorado. And I watched the Bengals play Monday Night Football against the Steelers, and TJ Watt sacked Andy Dalton in front of his face so hard and so fast that Andy Dalton's head hit the back of his offensive tackle's ass on the other side. TJ Watt is the truth. I think he's better than JJ ever was. That dude is so good. It does not surprise me that he can win you football games like that.
He is dominant with it. And I got to say, the Saints win means nothing to me, right? I mean, I'm just saying that doesn't mean anything.
Everybody, whoever plays the Panthers this year, congratulations. You get a stat padding game. This is the game where you get to go maybe make a case for an MVP or an offensive player of the year.
I mean, Tyler might be onto something. Maybe they are the worst team since the Lions went defeated. So we'll see what they do there. We'll see if Young, the number one pick, could do anything with it along the way.
He just looks like a bust right now, dude.
He does.
I don't know if there's a situation that he could look better either, because it's a bad situation. But what situation could he look any better in?
The Raiders.
Is he just too short to be an NFL quarterback?
I don't know. We at least have Adams he could throw to.
You're stuck with Gardner Minshew. Get used to it. He's not going nowhere, and he doesn't get hurt either. He's not getting hurt.
Afternoon delight. Chargers stifled by Raiders.
Sky rockets in flight.
Yeah, I love that little thing there from what's that movie? Gosh,
Anchorman.
Anchorman. Thank you. Bucks beat down Commanders. Baker Potato looks great. 4 touchdowns. Daniels looks like a rookie, I'd say today. Seattle holds on to beat Nico's Broncos 26-20. Cowboys look good.
So mad during the first 2 plays of that Broncos
game.
I should bring up the
Cowboys diagram. They beat somebody bad, people hype them up. Then they play somebody good, they lose. And it goes around.
So I'm kind of with it. The Browns are not that as good as they were last year. Like, I'm not saying the Browns are going to be a bad team, but like they played pretty. I mean, Jimmy, you saw them in their division. I felt like they kind of played better than what they were, if that makes sense for a season, because football
tried to help up his offensive lineman. Why I don't want your help. Like, it just doesn't look good.
They don't like him. They didn't want him in the first place. They did not want him. The guy that they wanted is playing against the Commanders as quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that everybody wanted to keep Baker around if they could, and it didn't work out. But Deshaun is not the answer. The coach, it doesn't look like the coach likes him. I give him as much crap as anybody. Obviously, but I will give him credit because the mental toughness that he has to be able to go out there. If that's the product that he knows he can put on the field, maybe today was just an off day. But if he knows that's all he has to give, he does have a lot of mental toughness to go out there and play because he's going to get destroyed whether he plays good or bad.
Yeah,
it does not matter now. He's public enemy number 1. He's the easiest person to go after and attack in the NFL.
No,
my team has a bad game. I'm gonna say at least I don't have Deshaun Watson getting massages at quarterback.
And we should mention Dak got what, 4 years to 40 days? Is that what it was?
I think it was 4 years. What are they doing?
$16 million a year. But we said it at the beginning of the year, they were kind of stuck. So
you got $160 million tied up in 2 guys right now.
Well,
what are you doing?
At least CD and Dak. What I mean, in some ways, that I just, like I said, we'll see what happens with the Niners next year with Purdy and what he gets and how it affects it. So we'll see how the Cowboys are able to manage that cap going forward and be able to keep star players. What do you guys think? The Chargers do beat my Raiders. The Raiders had a good opportunity in this game. I felt like they just could not run the ball in short yardage situations. There was like plenty of 2nd and 1s that became 3rd and 3s, and then they couldn't run it then. It's just all day long that was the case. Minshew looked to me sporadic in the pocket is how I would put it.
That's
and the defense was good. The defense is going to be there for the Raiders. They kind of, I think, as you realize your offense isn't doing anything, you do have, and then you give them a touchdown. It's like, well, 22-10. It's like, yeah, it seems like a blowout, but the offense should have been able to at least get 2 field goals there to make it 22-16 at some point. Like they missed that field goal right before, was it halftime there? It would have put them up 10-7. And that kind of, and then the Chargers are right there in scoring position. They missed the field goal. They go for it on 4th down on their side of the half. They miss it. Chargers get up 3-0 as a result of that. So I mean, I understand why Pierce was playing aggressive because his offense is not good. But this is what happens when you do go for it sometimes, and you just can't run the ball. So I'm worried what it looks like with Josh Jacobs. That's kind of my thing with the Raiders there. I'm a little worried without him this year.
It didn't cut down Casey's confidence. He's still at 11 wins. I'm just like, what are you smoking, man?
My guess is because you're on the other side of it. That's he's just saying. I thought. What do you think of Denver? Just a little thing. You got anything for us, Jimmy, on them in Seattle?
It was a tough game because it started off so great,
Yeah.
but
Detroit, baby. Suck it,
pull it up?
Rams.
Oh, field goal or touchdown? Just to let us know.
Touchdown by Detroit.
All right, I'll get
Alvin
it up
Ra,
here.
was it the Sun God?
Who do you know who scored it? Brian.
I have to see a replay. I didn't see.
I'll get it.
I'm calling the Sun God. If it's right, I'm the new Messiah. I'm the VSN. I'm VSN Jesus. You dull creature, and I will not take this kind of disrespect.
I'll get it up here as soon as I see it. As soon as I get to play here on with it.
No, for the Bronco game, it's disappointing because it was a loss and there were a couple mistakes, but I think that he got the rushing touchdown. You'd like to see him be able to convert a little bit better when he got down to the red zone. Your defense is good as long as the offense doesn't play terribly down a stretch like it was Montgomery. Shit. All right.
Montgomery. Yep.
I am not VSN Jesus. That was a false positive on that one. You would have liked to see him score in the red zone a little bit more. That would have given you a little bit better taste in your mouth. But if I know Nico, it will be disappointing, and Broncos country will be disappointed. But he played hard. It was ballsy. There's been a lot of times over the past 12 years or however long that it's been. It seems like it's been 12 years that this team just gives up, and they didn't give up. And the Seahawks had to play really good at the start of the second half to get the lead back. And then they had to make sure that they stopped that comeback because Bo Nix was trying to do something and it just didn't work out. Like he threw a ball where there were 3 defenders to his 1 receiver on that area of the field, not necessarily covering him, but come on, man. You got a 1 out of 99% chance of actually completing that. That's not a good choice. Don't do that. But he had the rushing touchdown. Like what you expect out of this Broncos team, it was going to be a tough
I thought they were going to. I picked them to win it today, though.
Nico did too, and I get it because the preseason looked great. But remember, the preseason was against guys that are now bagging groceries. I love that line from I love that line from Major League, but that's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. It is what it is. I think that they can be disappointed, and I think that you probably are. But if you can keep your defense from having to play a multitude of snaps at the start of the second half, I think that you can win a few more games than people are expecting. Do I think playoffs? No. Do I think that when the Bengals play them in December, it's going to be a hell of a dogfight? Yes. Bo Nix does make me scared. Not necessarily scared, but like you're going to have to play better than what the Bengals showed that they can play today for damn sure. If the Bengals played the Broncos today, the Broncos win by 40, and I'm getting laughed at on the podcast on Thursday.
It's funny, like as we move on from the Broncos, but I do think they're going to be better this year. I think Sean Payton does have some. Like I do think there's going to be some better things there. The Lions do win 26-20. That anybody that's joining us here on Variety Sports Network, Week 1, Talking the Gridiron, got Brian the Main Man Johnson, Jimmy Pilato here on a Sunday. A little later, we'll be with you usually earlier. Had some family stuff. Appreciate the guys staying late with me tonight on that stuff. But we'll be with you usually 6:45 Pacific Standard Time, 7:45 Mountain Time. 8:45 Central, 9:45 East. Jimmy, Lions get the job done. Brian, your Rams, you're good. I know you're happy there, but they get the loss. Stafford had some opportunities tonight as well. The Lions looked tough. I was happy with Dan Campbell. He didn't go crazy tonight, gambling with everything from what I saw. But
I love his Applebee's commercial. He says, "Put the menu in front of your face."
They're going to hear what you're ordering.
Yeah, I love that. You're right.
Dan Campbell would definitely be somebody that's like, why are they? The government's trying to listen on what I want to eat.
Why they got that? You're right. Jimmy, what do you kind of make of the just put a little bow on it as we've been kind of doing it live here. It goes to overtime here, Week 1. The Rams end up falling. Stafford is way back. Lions, some mental toughness, big win for them. What do you kind of make of that?
There's some mental toughness for the Lions. I chalk it up to Stafford didn't play in the preseason because he looked good on certain drives, but the mistakes that he made are mistakes that are from lack of reps. If you play in the preseason and you play a lot during practice, during camp, then you can kind of see when the safety is baiting you to think that it's man coverage. And, he should have taken off and ran when he threw that pick before halftime. That would have changed the game completely. They already were able to make the comeback, but when you have that lack of experience without playing in the preseason, it's ridiculous to think that you're going to be able to execute in a game in overtime where there's zero margin for error. You're going to screw something up. You're going to let something happen. Like if there were anything to take away from week 1 is if your team does not play your starters, expect the first week of preseason to be really weird. It's going to look like shit. You're going to look, am I watching college football or is this the NFL? Because that's exactly what I was thinking the entire afternoon.
Yeah, that's a good point there.
Jameson Williams from Alabama got the game ball, 5 receptions, 131 yards and a touchdown. He had a good game.
He was really good tonight too. Yeah.
He's so fast compared to even all those pass guys in the NFL.
And that was that questionable pick. They kind of looked upon it at the time, right? Kind of maybe a little high in the draft there with it as well. I thought you guys might get a kick out of this one with the coming back there. A little chip music.
And 0-2 against his former team, Matthew Stafford.
Maybe it's been his ploy all along. He's going to go to a team in conference and then just lose to them in every big moment that he can.
Man, that's a bad one right there. So they go down there with. We got a few more here to get into.
How many memes do you think we're gonna see with 8 Mile and it's Jared Goff as Eminem and Matt Stafford as Papa Doc? This guy's a gangster. His real name is Clarence. Clarence lives at home with both parents. Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
We're gonna get a lot of that.
Eminem flipping off the Levi's fans after the NFC Championship game.
That was great. That was like the best Eminem thing there with it. You could see. How about I like this part of our segment. Remember we used to do this this game was on. The Vikings, they beat the Giants 28-6. Danielson not looking the part here. Darnold looks like
still gave Malik Neighbors a chance to score like 15 points in fantasy.
He did give him a chance.
I left Malik Neighbors on the bench because of who his quarterback was. I will not make that mistake again.
Brian, Vikings, they get the win. Does it matter? What do you kind of make of the Giants here? Are they going to be the worst team in the league, maybe, or is it going to be the Panthers?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Panthers, and then Giants will be number 2. And it wasn't a good start to the week for Daniel Jones. There's a rumor he was dating some woman called Kay Adams, and they had some podcast, and she cooked him and just said she laughed it off or something. It was like he's going to get destroyed against the Vikings after this.
Brian, I love that you have these like random facts. It always cracks me up that you have like Kay Adams. I like that. Yes.
Are you watching Kay Adams, Brian? What are you trying to tell us?
She has good interviews. How dare you disagree?
Yeah, she's a great journalist, huh?
How dare you say that?
Yeah, she's a very good-looking woman. Let's just say
that. There you go, there, Brian.
At least he's honest. He's honest, ladies and gentlemen.
Darnold, though, gets the 2 touchdowns.
She's missed on Good Morning Football because she does her own thing now, and
that's not a show anymore, right?
What?
No, it is.
Is that still a show? I thought
it is still a show. They tried to put a clone in for her, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Kay Adams, I think her voice is probably the best thing about her, actually.
Is she the one? I'm thinking of somebody else. Kay
Adams is the Bengals fan also. She's
that's
a massive Bengals fan.
We got to get her on. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a beautiful girlfriend that I love very much. Trust me.
Yeah, we got to get her on.
Not Kay Adams. That's not who that is. I have my own girlfriend.
Jefferson. Well, we'll get to that. Jefferson good 28. They go 28-6. Darnold looks good 208, 19 for 24. Giants. We'll see what they have next week.
This is the same thing.
I have to say I was wrong a little bit on Darnold. I ripped on him at the beginning of the year, and he actually looked pretty decent.
Let's wait for week 2, though, Johnson. Let's not jump the gun there.
It's the same situation as Derek Carr looking good against the Panthers. This is a bad football team that you played. It's a terrible team. And Daboll, poor Daboll, because at least if you're going to be bad at your job, like don't look like you're about to pass out on the sidelines every week with as red as your face gets. So just accept it. You know that your team is not good. Don't expect that you're going to just get randomly better all of a sudden. That's not going to happen.
Aaron, if you're still in here,
don't think that maybe Shanahan fixed whatever was not good with him, and he could be have a decent year this year.
I don't think that he's not going to be quarterback that can win you games. Like, I think that he will be able to, but it's not going to always look like 2 touchdowns and winning by 18 points.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought this was funny just to put a little bow on this night game was Cooper Kupp. Like, this was his route chart. They moved
He's a stud.
all over the place.
A stud. Oh my God.
57% motion rate.
That doesn't even take into account all the plays that he was blocking on, because he's just a hell of a selfless teammate and a wonderful wide receiver. I would love to have that guy on my team.
So I thought that was kind of funny looking at that part of it with him there with it. All right, so we got the Rams. We'll wrap it up there. Next week, this is too early, so I'm not going to let anybody do this, but this is going to be a thing this year again. What teams can we cross off the list? We know we want to maybe put the Giants and Panthers on there. Are we putting the Panthers on? Are we putting the Panthers on there after week 1? Are they? We can't cross them off the list yet. We can't do that too much.
We'll see what Adam Thielen does week 2.
All right.
I would cross off the Panthers right now.
Johnson, I can't have us do.
I would also cross off the Giants. The Giants. Where is he? Aaron. I would cross off the Giants in a heartbeat.
All right, we can add them on. You guys want to go Giants, Panthers? Are we going to start the list week 1? Is that what we're doing? We're going to start.
Well, we got to give them something to root for. If we cross them off, they'll at least compete for a playoff spot. That was what we proved last year. We're mushes, if anything. So we did. Yeah, they probably want us to. They probably want. Aaron's probably secretly behind his keyboard, like he's got the message typed, like "Fuck you guys, they're not that bad. We're gonna come back." But he's like, please put them on the list. You just made the list.
Oh yeah. I think the only one we messed up last year was the Packers. I think other than that team, we were pretty good with it last year. All right.
Well, the Broncos were also almost competing for a playoff spot.
Yes, and we left them on as well. And that always is going to happen at the end of the year. All right, Niners, Jets. I know Jimmy has the Jets. I know Brian's got the Niners as well. Jimmy, how do you see this playing out? Why do the Jets get the win here on a Monday night? I know we're best. What do you see though? The Jets are a very talented team. I listened to Chris Sims. He says the same thing. He's like, there's not much separating these teams, but he thinks the Niners on their own field gives them the advantage here. So what do you make, Jimmy, of this playing out here?
I honestly, I'd like to be the antagonist in this situation when Brian's team gets the Monday Night Football. I like to be able to say, if he loses and I get to say that I beat him in the pick'em, then that's double win for me. So that's part of the reason why. I think that it's just an unknown. Like, we don't really know what the Jets offense is going to look like with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. So the fact that I can say I don't know if it's going to be better or worse than what they did last year. Nico's hell-bent on talking about Nathaniel Hackett being the play caller. He's not calling plays. Aaron Rodgers is calling his own plays. Like, if they really want to tell him to run something, they can suggest it in his headset. But you can't tell me Aaron Rodgers, the dude that does ayahuasca every other week, and like shoves ghee butter up his where. I'm getting a little bit too emotional about this as I'm talking about it. I got to calm myself down. I do go back to school tomorrow morning.
Yes, you do.
I'm a wonderful teacher, trust me. But Aaron Rodgers, just with the unknown factor, that's where I'm sitting with this game. Logically, the smart part of my brain says that this will be a Niners win and possibly one of the few blowouts that we've had of the weekend. So I will give you that credit, Brian. But I will love more than anything to the day that I die to say the 49ers lost and I picked against the 49ers. So, yeah, I guess I will take the Jets.
All right, so that's fun there. We'll have some fun here.
And my brother is a Jets fan, and I still don't like it.
Your brother's always been a Jets fan, right? He's not been.
He was a Jets fan when they got LT because he was an LT fan. So he was a Chargers fan, which would have been even sadder. We would have been the Bengals fan and the Chargers fan walking around our hometowns. Yeah. Like that's bad. You can't do that. We're gonna have to learn how to fight if that's the case, because that's the only response.
Brian, you guys have a 3.5-point favorite. You think they end up winning by more than 3.5?
I think it's 24-14, 49ers, so it's not a blowout, but I just think that as much pub as their offense gets, they really put money into the defense. Like they put a lot of defensive linemen on, and I think our corners are really well, and I think they're very underrated, and I think that they're going to win this game for us.
I think, from a betting side, I think it would be, I would take the Niners to win by more than a field goal. I think you guys are capable of doing that. Rodgers struggles in San Francisco anyways a little bit most of the time.
The
And I
Jets
think
with
Nick
Zach
Bosa
Wilson
is
were able
gonna
to.
knock him into next century. Let's just say that.
I will not say that. I'm not saying that the Bills last year are as good as the 49ers. I assume the 49ers are going to be this year because we have not seen them play yet. I'm not saying that. But I will also remind everybody that last year the Jets were able to beat the Bills opening weekend with Aaron Rodgers playing 4 games and Zach Wilson finishing out the game.
You're right. Anything can happen in the NFL. There is that point.
That's all I'm going to say. I do not think that, like I said, I don't think that it's going to happen because when I think about this game, I think that it's going to be everything that I hate because we're going to have to come on next week and talk about how good they were and it's always going to come back to them. And I know what's going to happen. Like, I get it. Just like I've resigned myself to the fact I'll get 50 push-ups in next Monday. That's awesome. That's just where I'm at. I'm not trying to dilute myself. I'm not trying to be a delusional fan. Can I keep some faith in my own team and keep some faith in the teams against the teams that I hate? Hell yeah. I'm so happy that
your way into it.
I'm so happy the Colts lost. The Colts losing today almost makes the Bengals losing a moot point to me.
Yeah, like I said, Chris Sims, Brian, it was not a stay. It was pretty tight here, so we'll see him. Mr. Sims.
Let's just say he made my list of people that are going to get suck it signs and told you so.
He made the list.
He made the list.
We got to get that on here, no doubt, as a little soundbite. Brandon, can you help us with that when he made the list?
Nick writes on it. Jimmy Pilato, Casey Breyer.
We're all on it.
The fact that I made your list is a compliment, so I will take that.
I made the list, Jericho. All right, scheduled next week, Thursday night.
I will give you the list of Pilato when I'm
countdown. I want to see what Booger McFarland says, but I know he'll make the list for sure.
I'm excited when I turn heel on you and I give you the list of Pilato, and it's just going to be, it's not going to be your name. It's going to be I don't even want to give the guy credit. It's one of the Colts fans, one of the guys that tried to talk about my students. It's not even going to be Brian's name on my list. So I'm not even turning on you. I'm just going to be like, I'm done with whatever we've been doing here, and I'm going to go move on to my next thing. That's what I want to do.
Brian loves it. Brian loves his football. He loves his stuff, just like you guys do. So we have some fun with it tonight, talking the gridiron. Jimmy, Brian, me with you, Variety Sports Network. We're wrapping it up here. Look ahead to week 2, guys. Thursday night, Buffalo at Miami, New Orleans at Dallas, kind of an interesting game. Tampa Bay at Detroit, Colts at Green Bay. Kind of find that one interesting as well. Niners at Minnesota. We'll see how that plays out too. Can New England win again? They're at home against Seattle. New York, Washington. Another game that kind of stands out to me is, my Raiders are at Baltimore. We'll see how that goes. And then you go to the afternoon games and you have Cincinnati at Kansas City. And then kind of just an interesting one, Chicago, Houston as well. And then Atlanta and Philadelphia is our Monday night schedule there. So little week 2 matchups there. Anything stand out to you, Brian?
Definitely the Sunday night game should be good. Caleb versus CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's not a bad Sunday night game at all. Jimmy, you got your Chiefs next week, so that's going to be a big game, obviously, afternoon game for you watching that one.
Yeah, now I didn't realize teaching in Colorado was going to subject me to so many bandwagon Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes fans. But that's
my gosh, I hear on that one, man.
It's a majority of everybody that's in my class, so I'm excited. If I can win, and these kids have to do, I know these kids can't do 25 push-ups. I only bet them 25. I'm going to have to do 50 because I made 2 separate bets. I make a lot of bets. If I lose this other one, I might have to kiss a fella.
Taylor Swift sad.
Come on, Jimmy. Your bagels can do it. Come on, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
I'm hoping that they get frustrated, and I don't expect this. So here's the last thing that I will say on what the Bengals did today. I am more disappointed in how Zach Taylor continually responds to this fact that we cannot win a season opening game, where he's like, oh, we're just going to block out the external noise. We're going to focus on the internal noise, and we're going to make ourselves better. Fuck that. Listen to everybody telling you suck at – I'm sorry. You sucked. You sucked. You were terrible. God awful. Everybody knows it. We fumbled a punt return when we could have had some momentum back. Our defense finally got a stop for the first time in God knows how long. Do all of this. Burrow not playing well, getting sacked. Offensive line is out of joint because it's all new guys. Like, everything sucked. You guys are awful. Better play better next week, or we're going to start having some new guys on the field. Jamar Chase, if you play like that, if you don't get your ass off the field when we're punting the football again, I will gladly ship your ass out of here. I don't need me in here. And it's been a lot of me recently.
Brian, I think
Just say
I
you
think
want winners. I
we,
want winners.
I want
I want winners.
we want winners. We want winners there with it. That's a week 2 matchup there with it. So we
I
got
want to
some.
win.
Yeah, that's
Tired
gonna
of
be
losing. I want to win.
Come on, Bengals. Let's go. Show up. We don't want the Chiefs to win next. We got that as there with it.
And I want you to win so big that Swift and Kelsey get in a big fight.
We
Come
want
on.
that. Tyler
That
Brian
would be-
wants all. Brian wants all the
It'd be
drama with that.
100% because I also have an ex
Because
girlfriend that is
you're
a
at the
big
U.S.
Taylor Swift
Open
fan.
today. They're being obnoxious, and I need them to be mad and sad.
Yeah, no, I have an ex girlfriend that's a huge Taylor Swift fan, and it would be awesome for. Well, I guess maybe I want them to stay together because her white whale is them breaking up and her releasing a new album. That's like what she's hoping for. That's the sick part about Taylor Swift fans.
And we got some.
They don't really want her to be happy.
They don't really
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
that's
do
the
it.
other person on my list, Taylor Swift.
Taylor on the list. She made Brian's list.
She
as
gets
well.
talked about 3 times more than offensive linemen do on NFL broadcasts. There's some guy that went out and did a full-blown scientific study. It's like 3-1 Taylor Swift
That's
references
funny.
to offensive linemen.
I could see that though. That's no doubt there with it. Taylor Swift is the NFL is definitely using that to his advantage there. Like interesting game, just not the sexiest names or whatever, but like Browns, Jaguars, one of those teams will go 0-2. So just kind of interested in that game as well. It's in Jacksonville next week. Winner and losers of week 1. Jimmy, who do you have here?
I'm a loser of week 1 for the team that I root for my fantasy roster. That it's not like I played a bunch of guys that were hurt or were sick. They were all on the field for quite a bit of time, but I got away with a bunch of zeros, and it's one of those frustrating moments, I guess, is how I'll put that. So I'm a loser. All the guys that I put into my roster, Kyle Pitts, you're a loser still because you're still not as good as everybody expected you to be. ETN, FU, you had 7 points and then you lost it for me. Burrow needs to get his shit together. I'm not going to sit here and tell him that he smells like roses because he played like absolute garbage today, even when he had time to throw. It's bad. It's bad all the way around.
Yeah.
Football's back. I love it so much.
Yay, football. We're back with it. We love it. You got a winner.
I like it better when I can hope that they're going to be better instead of having to live with the reality of what they are.
There is. You got a winner though too. Let's come on. You got a positive for the week too. You got a positive today.
I guess winner will be Andre Yosivach because he'll be used at least a little bit this season. I liked him last year coming out of I think it's Princeton. He's like one of those. He's the stereotypical jock in like a Degrassi show where he's like, I play the cello, I speak French, Italian, and Spanish. I had a 4.0 in high school and a 4.2 in college, and I just decided that instead of being a professional surfer, I wanted to be an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, it's like one of those guys, like one of those genetic.
He's from Hawaii.
Can you believe Drake was in Degrassi?
Brian, what do you have for winner and loser?
Winner is going to be the first Monday night game of the year. So, I mean, it's my team, and they get me jacked up. And I'm sure I'm going to be going back and forth with Facebook fans that are negative the whole game. Then we pull it out and win. And then
you're only allowed to at me and Jimmy 3 times tomorrow. You're not allowed to at us.
I'll be coaching my own team and probably playing Doug in college football. So. I may be busy.
Your brother might be texting you if the Jets do make a little run.
He just bought a house. He doesn't have a TV in his new house right now.
He's done that one. What do you got for loser, Brian?
And then my loser of the week is Deshaun Watson. It doesn't look good in Cleveland right now.
That's a good call. I like that one.
I also have to stand behind that one too. Damn it, Johnson. Why do you always say stuff that make me agree with you?
Hey, we get that for Pats?
Because we went back and forth too much on Twitter, so now we need to hug and make up. And you guys,
people are gonna start texting Darren like, "Hey, are you winning? Do you need to pick us? Like, if you have to pick a side, you're obviously gonna pick Brian because you've known him for way longer. Like, I get it." But like, no, Darren, we need to keep you out of the custody battle. Mommy and Daddy are not going to get a divorce. Trust me.
We're with it. It's all fun. I know you guys see the same way with it. It's been a good show here. Pats. I got to give them a winner though. I know that they showed me more than I thought. Derek Carr. Oh gosh, yes, you're a winner. You did play the Panthers, but you're a winner there. And then your boy Mixon. He's definitely a winner of the week as well. And then the loser. again, I think we're just gonna. It's your Bengals. They were the loser of the week. I thought they were just the poorest team out there.
There were other teams that also had high.
They
hopes
were.
That...
They were. That one was the one though that stood out, and then the other one for me that I thought was a loser as well was the Titans, because I thought they had that game 17-0 to the Bears. I know you're on the road. I know, but it just that one to me, right, Jimmy? You block a field goal, and it's just like that has to leave a bad taste in your mouth when you don't even. The quarterback goes for 92 yards on the other team. So
I've lost the state semifinal game because the guy blocked a kick. He got called offsides on the first time that he blocked our field goal, and then the next time we didn't make an adjustment, he blocked the kick again on the next play, same exact way, and we lost our semifinal game by 3 points. So yeah, I don't want to talk about stuff like that. That gives me bad flashbacks.
And then just Brian, is this the other winner? Is this the other winner of the week?
I'm chaotic, showing you
Brian's other winner.
I think she ruined Daniel.
Jared, all the students all my students that are staying up way too late to watch this show, just like you just gave them a heart attack.
I know, it's so funny, junior high.
Oh my God.
All right. Sorry, next week we'll make it 7 seconds. I don't know if you'll last.
And
but
she's the Dick Sports girl too.
She does what? Hey, whoa, easy there, buddy. We got that's a big sentence there.
It's only 9 o'clock where you guys are.
Yeah,
it's at least 10 o'clock where I am. So I guess we can get.
Didn't mean to come out like that. It's an actual store.
I know.
Dick's Sporting Goods. We still have them out here too.
We still got those out. They don't have Sears.
Sports Authority is the one that closed down.
Yes, it was rolled done with it. Week 2 next week, gentlemen. We got so like I said, we've done this now for 2 years. Pull out Jimmy. It kind of plays out throughout the year, so it's been fun. Appreciate we had 125 people in here tonight. Appreciate the retweets. Make sure you like and subscribe here at Variety Sports Network. Be sure to follow Jimmy at Far End of the Bench. They've been doing great stuff. I love all the I don't know, you've just been putting out great content, continuing to do it too. So it's great. You're getting some good interaction there with the fans. Johnson, love that you've been kind of interacting a little bit as well with the people there. We've had some good shorts along the way. I think we'll have some good shorts from tonight as well. Jimmy's rant I've noted down as one of them on there, and I got Brian as well, his little rant too with on Stafford there. So we got some good stuff there. So appreciate anybody that tuned in. We'll get our guys like Rev on, and we'll get some other guys here along the season as we move forward too. So all right, gentlemen, good week 1. Jimmy, thanks for staying up late with us. We'll be back to our usual time, 7:45 Mountain Time next week. Johnson, have a good week. All right, we'll see you guys then. Peace.